Two men have been convicted for their part in a drug smuggling operation after 26.5 million worth of cocaine was dropped off near the Somerset coast. A jury at North Somerset Crown Court was told Colin Benson, 60, and Joshua Rose, 38, both from Longton and Preston, went to collect the 322 kilogram, £709 of cocaine from a speedboat at Watchet Harbour in July last year. Following a 2-week trial, the jury convicted Benson of being knowingly concerned in the importation of cocaine. Rose pleaded guilty to an offence of participating in the activities of an organised crime group at an earlier hearing. At the same court, Benson was sentenced to 20 years and 6 months in jail. Rose will be sentenced at a later date. The court heard that on the evening of the 30th of July last year, Benson and Joshua waited on the shore for the return of the speedboat carrying the drugs. On board the boat were Melios Delvina, 39, Craig Nuttall, 51, and Estes Sepper, 25, who had collected the drugs from the cargo ship at sea. Also waiting on land was Craig's 48-year-old brother Raymond. The speedboat returned to the marina at 1 a.m. on the 31st of July, but Delvina, Sepper, and the Nuttall brothers were subsequently arrested by the NCA on suspicion of importation of Class A drugs. Benson and Rose left immediately and drove back to Preston. The speedboat was searched and 14 packages of cocaine and a gun were found inside. Benson and Rose had travelled from Preston to Watchet on a number of occasions before the drugs collection, said the NCA. They had met the Nuttalls on 3 separate occasions, including in the Marina car park. The pair were arrested in Lancashire by NCA officers in November 2025. The other 4 men pleaded guilty to drugs importation charges and were sentenced last year. Sepper also pleaded guilty to possession of a firearm found on the boat. NCA Senior Investigating Officer Alan French said Benson and Rose adopted the role of bystanders and clearly didn't want to embark on such a risky journey to collect this valuable cargo. However, they played a central role in planning the conspiracy through the numerous trips made down south. Here's some more news from the National Crime Agency. 2 members of a gang of drug smugglers who brought 1.4 million of ketamine up a Suffolk River using a fishing boat have been jailed. The National Crime Agency tracked the vessel Gail Carroll, which had travelled from Amsterdam and up the River Deben estuary near Felixstowe, while other officers waited on land at Ramsholt in February 2024. 5 men pleaded guilty to various offences at the start of their trial at Ipswich Crown Court. Richard Saul, 43, of Mill Lane, Woodbridge, Suffolk, was jailed for 8 years, while Sean Seymour, 60, of Beach Road, Saxmundham, Suffolk, was jailed for 4 years and 2 months. 3 others were given suspended jail sentences. Ingrid Watson, Regional Head of Investigations at the NCA, said the gang tried to operate under the cover of darkness, but were arrested in the early hours of the 17th of February. Richard Saul was the ringleader of the group, boasting about his extensive criminal enterprise and how easy he believed it was to smuggle drugs with his associates. On the same morning in 2024, Seymour picked up Dominic Labella of Ipswich before driving to the isolated jetty at Ramsholt, where the vessel arrived at 4:18 a.m. The pair collected boxes containing 200 kilogram, 441 pounds of ketamine, and 10 kilogram, 221 pounds of cannabis, which they took to a unit on an industrial estate in nearby Rendlesham. They were arrested before the 3 others were detained on the boat by the Maritime Counter-Terrorism Specialist Firearms Unit, which also found a deactivated shotgun on board. All 5 men were charged with being concerned with the importation of controlled drugs. Labella, 21, of Beaconsfield Road in Ipswich, and Nathan Wellard, 55, of Thetford Road, Northwold, Norfolk, were each given a 2-year jail sentence suspended for 18 months and 100 hours of unpaid work. Alexander Sampson Chambers, 36, of Gypsy Road, Welling, in South East London, was also given a 2-year jail sentence suspended for 18 months with 150 hours of unpaid work. Saul Seymour and Labella were also sentenced for being concerned in the supply of controlled drugs and possession with intent to supply controlled drugs. Ketamine usage has increased in the UK, and users should be aware of the horrific physical and mental damage it causes, added Watson. Please like this video, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.